I mean, I guess it's something that I was hoping for would happen because of the nature of the stories that I've been writing. But when some of the reviews that I've been getting that have been most consistent have been things like that, like, oh, it like changing my perspective on this thing, like opening up my mind to this thing that is going on. And I write a lot about consequences, and I feel like that's getting through to people. And the more of an audience I get, the more that I hope that continues to build and evolve as well. But that's the most common note that I see is how important the consequences are and understanding consequences. And yeah, it's funny because like that is true. And then the other side of it is that the books are all so different from each other, one to the next, that it's like that comes up, it creeps up into the reviews across the board. But then like the other ones are completely different. So
everybody, welcome back to Living the Next Chapter. It's the Author Podcast. We get to talk to great people. I have like one-off interviews with people, which I love. They come into our world, they talk about their book, and then maybe they stop writing or they move on to new projects. Then I have people who keep coming back because they just don't stop writing books. And CB's back again, which is amazing to have him back on the show. New project to talk about for a new audience for him as an author. And it's great always to reconnect with past guests, chat about what they're up to. And it's just so cool to have time with people like this. So CB, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the flight. I know you know your way around this podcast, so I don't need to show you where we keep the snacks and where the washroom is. You know, because you've been here so many times. But welcome back to the podcast. Glad to have you here.
Oh, thanks, Dave. Yeah, it's good to be here. Yeah, I'm snacking on something right now from your green room over there.
It was like, really? Yeah, so that's pretty cool. CB, for people who haven't met you yet, there's several episodes of you here on the podcast they can go back and listen to. But let's start here. Where are you in this big world of ours so people listening can connect with you?
Yeah, okay. I live in Los Angeles. I'm in the San Fernando Valley. I live here with my wife, her extended family, and we have 4 pugs now. One of them has 3 legs. One of them we found on the street. She was full loaded up with a litter of puppies, and we got her all of her vaccinations and everything taken care of, and wound up getting all those puppies adopted out through a rescue, and now she's with us too. And they're a handful. So if you hear a little bit of chirping in the background, that's the pug dogs. But yeah,
good stuff.
I'm a science fiction author. If you guys haven't watched the other episodes, listened to the other episodes of this podcast, I primarily focus on science fiction, and I like to play in different subgenres of what that can be. It's always been my mentality is it's such a broad scoping thing that sci-fi doesn't have to just be like space westerns, even though those are fantastic. Everybody loves Star Wars or Firefly or what have you. But it can be all sorts of things more thoughtful, like one of my favorite films of all time, Gattaca, or if you know about like Isaac Asimov novels or anything. So like I love this one novel called The Gods Themselves. I talk about it a lot, but it's just so completely different from what you might get from like your mainstream big action pop thing. But then I will do those sometimes as well. So essentially, well, I'm coming to you guys today with this entirely new concept, still related to the books that I've been writing from my Odom's Library series, but it's a new chapter book series for kids, for youths ages, I've been saying 9 to 13. I'm sure that some kids that are a little bit younger will be jumping on it and be cool with it, and some people who are a little bit older will be happy to do it. Any adult that I've had read it has seemed to really enjoy it as well. But it is intended for my niece's age range. And the name of that book is Quantum Mabel in the River of Time.
Now, we have authors listening to the show, and you have kind of added a new audience of readers to what you're doing. Any suggestions for somebody who typically writes for one group of people, but is contemplating writing for a totally different group of people? And kind of how do you approach that while still keeping your regular audience who loves what you do, but then adding a whole new audience? Is there any tips on how you navigate that?
Yeah, I've had a very, very interesting time with this because when I'm at book signings, I actually tend to find that 13-year-olds and so forth grasp onto my more mature content as well. So like for instance, I met this one family, a mother and a daughter, and they were so excited just because there was an author at this bookstore and they picked up a couple of my novels, and the girl was like instantly sending me stuff on Instagram about like how she was so into my first book. And I'm like, well, that's awesome. I want it to be able to be like that. It's always intended to be like, this is a big action movie. A 13-year-old absolutely could enjoy this content eventually, or even right now. I'm impressed that that in that reading range, they're open to it. But I guess it never be so concerned about being smarter than your audience. If like somebody will try to rise to the occasion. I'm trying to actually put that together with Quantum Mabel, which is going to be a series, by the way. But the idea is it is a chapter book, but I'm trying to keep the science real and keep it intellectual enough that yes, while it's meant for a kid to read, they're not going to feel dumbed down to. There's no need for that. They're at an age range where they're learning everything, and their mind is like a sponge. So there's no reason why you can't put more information in. And I just think that kids are smarter than people give them credit for.
Is there anything different though compared to your Odom series that you purposely did for this new project that, I really want to connect with this audience and make sure I do it well? What's different from what you've done in the past?
Well, first off, the chapters are most of the time shorter, like, or genuinely intended to be this many words or pages, however you look at it while I'm working on it. The protagonist is somebody that's in their age range specifically, and I try to play around with and recognize what those emotions might be that she's going through, Mabel. And I'm trying to like kind of more layer kind of hints and clues and mysteries throughout that are just kind of fun little cookies for anybody to grasp onto. That maybe when I'm working on a more adulty novel, it's more more poetic, more prose heavy, instead of like layering the little fun mysteries that they can go, oh, I know, I remember that from earlier, and I really like what, I wonder what that means.
Is it intentional for you as an author to reach out to a younger audience, to maybe get them to come and find you, and like when they're younger, but then they grow up with you over time and work their way into your other series? Do you think, is that intentional at all?
Man, I hope so.
It's a smart idea.
Absolutely.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I hope so. I do still tie the Quantum Mabel series back to Odom's library. So there are characters that will appear in these books or will be talked about in these books that come from the other ones. And there may be events that occur, hint, in some of these books that impact the other Odom's library novels as well. But you can just read the Quantum Mabel stories as the Quantum Mabel stories in their proper order, which with the other Odom's library novels, I kind of go out of my way to say, you don't need to read these sequentially. They're distant enough from each other that you can get this one without having to have read that one. With Mabel, I'm going to want you to read them all in order. Okay. So stay tuned for that.
Do you have any concept of how many will be in the series for Mabel?
Right now, I'm tracking on 5. My wife wants me to do 10. When we talked about it initially, I'm like, I could do 20 of these. But I'm like, as I like think about the nuances of like tying this one to this one to this one to this one, I feel like at the very least, I can do like a first choreographed grouping of 5 of them that all exist in this one arc. And then if I go beyond that arc, then it's I can still play in that world with those characters. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I really want to accomplish, I think I can do it in 5. If I wind up pushing that, I'm so sorry, everybody. I said 5 for the first time that I brought it up, but things change too. So I'm not promising that it's going to be only 5, but I'm definitely doing 5.
Like I'm a musician, so I'm kind of hearing your words and translating into music talk. So I play guitar, but I also play bass. I also play drums, and I also play piano. They're all musical instruments. They're all different, but they're all music. So, and then as I do other instruments, it helps me to go back to my main instrument and play better, because I've had experience somewhere else, adjacent to what I do, but different, but the same. So as an author, you have your original audience you're writing for. You do this project with Mable, and then you can kind of go back and forth between the two. You're playing different instruments as an author, but you're still just making music around what you love to write. Does that does it make sense?
Oh, it makes perfect sense. Isn't that just the coolest thing, to be able to like to get your energy out there in one way and then come back to something else that you know and love and just knock it out of the park because you love it. You feel that joy again. That's separate from this other new thing. Yeah, that's new. That's like Mabel's new for me right now. And when I go back and I revisit my adult novels, it's gonna be, I already know it because I'm dreaming. I've been fantasizing about it the last couple of nights. I'm like, okay, full disclosure, as we're doing this interview, I'm like 45% through the second Mable book. And I'm like, am I going to write all of these back to back to back to back to back? Or am I going to stop after the second one? Am I going to write another full-length novel and then come back to the chapter books? And I'm like, maybe I need to do all of the the first arc of chapter books first, so I don't get myself too far gone from it. But I don't know, man. But yeah, no, I love doing my mainline novel work as well. So it's like I'm not leaving that behind, and I can't wait to get back to it. But,
We just need to have some way of duplicating you and have multiples of you, so you can get this all done at the same time.
Yeah, that is so funny you say that, because there's an aspect of Mable that's about that. Since I'm dealing with quantum mechanics, quantum realities, there's an aspect of duplicating yourself that Dave didn't even know this.
Hello.
Said that.
Well, there you go. It's like I'm picking up on it. I think I've talked to you several times, so I can kind of know where you're going, some of the things you do. So okay, for you as the author, though, writing this new series, what's fun for you? Like, maybe something you didn't anticipate when you started working on this project, but as you're working on it, you're like, I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah. Oh man, so many things. The research right off the bat is I'm approaching the research side of things in a different way. My wife Madison's really been pushing this idea that we're going to public libraries and trying to source facts as we go. And I'm like, I have a story in my mind. I really want this thing to be accurate. And then I get to the point where I'm talking about that thing and I realize I'm not an expert on that particular bird and I need to research that bird. And it turns out that they have a really bizarre behavior that I wasn't aware of. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm just going to put that in the book. That's great. So she wants me to put a bibliography in the back. And while I'm still designing the interior of the book, we're going to be developing some sort of a bibliography. It might be a short form bibliography, but it's going to be something based on books that we found in the library that relate back to what we're doing. And that's been really different for me, because usually I like read my magazine. I read a lot of New Scientist weekly. And I read whatever books I'm reading. I do 3 books at a time. I do 1 fiction, 1 nonfiction, and 1 book with my wife that we read out loud together. And usually between all of those things going on, I gain enough new knowledge that I get excited about a certain concept, and that winds up working its way into whatever I'm doing. But here, there's a different kind of intentionality to it where I'm going and having to research back on this particular topic.
Okay. This sounds like a lot of fun. For my audience, we don't have a huge audience in that 9 to 13 age for listeners for the show. We do have some, which is great. So hi, everybody, if that's you. But we have a lot of parents who have kids in that age range. So let's talk first to that age group, 9 to 13, who's listening to the show. Wow. Glad to have you here. Talk to them directly. This book is for you, and fill in the blank. Who is this reader? Tell me a little bit more about this 9 to 13-year-old. What do they love? What are they curious about? And how does this book kind of be a companion for them?
If you enjoy wacky adventures and cool science, this is that book. I want you to be able to feel like you can explore scientific realms and scientific facts that maybe you're not receiving currently in school, but there you will. And I want you to know that this book might give you a leg up on some of your studies in the future. I think that could be very cool for a kid to take some of the facts that I'm putting into these books in a fun way and to like wind up writing a paper, and that paper being about like this particular, like I said before, birds, or this book has some stuff dealing with a special kind of wasp that maybe a kid doesn't know about these wasps. And that like you could succeed at a science class that you didn't realize you were going to succeed at because you're getting this information in a fun way. And I want that to be for you.
Okay. What about for parents that are listening? Their kids are in that 9 to 13 year age span. What kind of questions could a parent ask their kids as they're reading this book that would help them with the story, help them to connect parent to child, and this book would open a conversation about science. What else could a parent be asking and querying their kids about when they're reading the book to kind of help complement the book? What kind of questions are your books answer?
Just behaviors, but this first one in particular, because it takes place in the Amazon jungle, it deals a lot with animal behaviors and like I've been saying, there's a little bit of like quantum physics in it as well. So how the universe kind of works and how animals interact with one another in the greater state of the universe. So if a parent wants to get really heady with it and do some experimenting, researching on their own side and bring that back to the kid, that could be cool. Or I do think that there's an aspect of this book that would be really fun for a parent and a kid to both share by reading together or at the same time, like almost a mini book club together.
That's a great idea. Within your own home, turn your home into a book club. And it's nice too, because if a parent and their kids are doing that together, that opens up conversation points. Maybe when you sit there at mealtime and you're both staring at your fork and your plate and nobody knows what to talk about, you can talk about the book. Right? What chapter are we on? We're on chapter 4. What'd you like on page this? Oh, I like this and I like that. It just kind of opens up that communication, right, between parents and kids. Perfect.
Totally.
It's a great idea. Okay. For the story then, tell me a little bit more about our character. What do we need to know about this character? How would you introduce them to us as a first-time reader? Give me a little more information.
Yeah. Well, I guess I could read you like I haven't read the description of the book.
Let's do that. That'd be great.
Yeah. So I could start with that. I feel like it'll give you a little concept of it, and then if we want to spitball off of that with more about the characters, that's cool. So here we go. Quantum Mabel in the River of Time, right? 10-year-old Mabel is from the future. She's also quantum, which means young Mabel can travel wheresoever and whensoever she wishes. With her robot friend Dartmouth in tow, she travels across time and space to learn about the true nature of reality and sometimes even change things for better or worse. In Quantum Mabel and the River of Time, the duo leaps back in time to explore the Amazon rainforest of old. From Bodo dolphins to stingerless bees, Mabel and Dartmouth experience the great forest in a new light. Cool science and strange adventure awaits those brave enough to join them on their journeys.
Nice.
So, in that descriptor there, I introduced you to the concept of Quantum Mabel, the girl, and her robot buddy, Dartmouth. The way I've kind of been describing these characters in my head as I've been building up the world is like, it's almost like a more scientific, more higher-aged Dora the Explorer. So Dora has the monkey friend, but this is Dartmouth is a robot that's supposed to actually be protecting her. And they're both manipulating different aspects of reality as they travel around through like across the universe, time and space. And Mabel's just a wide-eyed, excited young girl who wants to know more about everything. And she wants to be able to talk to the animals, and she wants to be able to zip in between space and reverse time to check on something else that she wants to explore that she saw earlier or felt earlier going on. And Dartmouth is a little bit more nervous because he's got to protect her. So Dartmouth is like, hey, maybe we don't go over to the really dangerous place over there, unless I tell you, like, I know for a fact it's safe. And but it's hard to control a kid like that. So Mabel might run over there anyway. And what kookiness ensues because of that.
All right. Yeah, I like a kind of a story with multiple characters like that kind of play off each other. That's really cool. It's not giving anything away, I hope, but how does Mabel connect with this companion in the first place? Like, how did these two meet?
Oh, okay. So Mabel's mother built this robot, and there is a bit of an origin story that I don't present in the first book here. In fact, full disclosure, Mabel does appear in some of my adult novels as well. but not yet.
Oh,
So
okay.
keep your eyes open for that. Not trying to give too much away, but her mother had built Dartmouth a long time ago, and asks Dartmouth to take care of Mabel. So that's how they came to connect with each other. Mabel is from the future. She's from more than 1,000 years in the future, living in my Odom's library timeline, and her mother's a character that you already know from the books.
Okay. I love just getting a little peek into the brain of an author, because there's so much stuff spinning around, and I know you're saying a lot without saying a lot, because it's like, well, I could tell you this, but I'm not going to. And I like that, because it makes you just want, as a reader, you want to lean in and go, oh, I want to get in this world, and I want to live in this world with you, right? What is satisfying about world building for you? Like in the process of creating all this, because you have so many little things and they're all interdependent, and some things are on their own, some things need each other. What's fun for you? What do you enjoy about world building?
Yeah, so that's that sense of discovery, that sense of laying foundation and discovery, knowing that your concepts are sound, so that you can play in a sandbox of your own making. I find that I consistently surprise myself with the amount of information that I already have at my disposal, because I've been building it out for so long now, that it's just second nature for me that this character, of course, exists and can do this thing because of these other facets that I've set up in the Ancient Ones, in connectivity, in Papillon 4, that this world building has already shaped the possibility for this to exist.
Have you done anything in the past that you have to wrestle through for a future project in your books? You're like, because I wrote that and I had that in the story at the beginning, and I wrote that so long ago, and now I'm on this new thing. Now I have to wrestle with this plot line or this story, and I don't know how to make sense of all this. And it's kind of it slows you down in the moment, and you have to kind of wrestle with it.
Certainly there are times where I'll Papillon 4 was maybe the smoothest thing I've ever written, where it just kind of came to me, bop, 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 bop. But it's also the biggest foundation piece for everything else. And what's funny about it is that the Ancient Ones and connectivity, if you read them all in order, they work very well as genuine prequels to what that foundation is. So they're like laying some cement or putting in like the posts to be able to hold up the main house. And Papillon 4 is the main house where the Odom's library concept really comes together. But if you know those other facts, then it's like, but okay, so to your question, there's some things about Odom himself, the character who does appear in the Mable series as well, that you really get to know him in Papillon 4. And I had to look deeply at what I had done in the Ancient Ones and connectivity to make certain that I wasn't just like throwing a character into existence that didn't deserve to be there. And instead, what wound up happening is the two stories found a way to combine so well, in my opinion, so dramatically, that the character makes even more sense. But I did have to pause, and it's the only part of the book where I really felt that I needed to pause, was putting it into words without overdoing it, what it is that makes Odom be able to exist. And that kind of thing certainly comes up. I definitely have found moments with the second Mable book right now where I'm like, is that going to contradict anything that I have going in the other books? And usually no, because I have laid it out in such a way. But you have to kind of occasionally tool the pieces together like they don't come already put together. You got to put them together and make it work. And then once it does work, it really works.
Again, this is so, as a non-author, as a reader, listening to explain all this, my mind is spinning, because we see the result, you see the process, and your view of your story from your side of the page is very different than the reader side. We get the benefit of all the hard work behind the scenes. You have to invest the time to make this all make sense, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
It's I don't, because I haven't done it, I don't know how to do it. And I don't know how you do it, but you do it very well. I have to say that part. Really
Oh,
good.
thank you.
Yeah. And I think, and that's the beautiful thing about great stories is there's some flexibility in the story to kind of take the story in new directions. You haven't written yourself into a corner where you have to, you're bound by your characters, you're bound by the story, and you can't break off like you did with this for Mabel. You can't break off into something new and adjacent where the story can live in a different space, but still have its home in the main story. It's outstanding. I like this. It's good. It's
Thank
good.
you so much.
Okay, so from your perspective, then you said you're about 45-ish% through the next book in the series. How are you just keeping yourself organized and keeping all the stories straight? Do you have a process? Do you have a thing behind the scenes where you collect your information and you store it somewhere so you have it? I can't imagine all this is living in your mind all the time at all times, but how are you keeping yourself organized?
My wife would be cracking up right now.
I think she gave me that question. Yeah.
She
No.
oh, she did.
Yeah.
Yeah, she always tells me to map it out and to make maps. And sometimes I try to make big timeline maps, and then I'm like, well, I know that this is gonna happen here, and this is gonna happen. This isn't telling me the thing that you think it's gonna be telling me by doing this. I would love for a fan at some point to build up the timeline map, because like I don't need it, but I would love that for somebody. I'm gonna offer that out there to anybody who wants to help me with that.
It's a great idea. That's a great idea.
But yeah, but I would say I tend to take notes, take a lot of notes. I have big aha moments, and those notes help me out. And then I got to go back and find the notes because sometimes they're in different places. And so I'm definitely uh, a little bit sloppy in how I coordinate the stuff, but then when I put it together, it's really neat and tight, I think. So my wife would be like cracking up straight up, because she wants me so badly to put timelines together. I'm like, I know it though. I do. I swear I know it. And then when I read it out loud to her, she's like, oh, that was good.
Do you think documenting a timeline would limit you though a little bit?
Yeah, well, maybe that's part of why I want the audience to do it instead for me, like because maybe there's a moment where there's an interpretation of if it happened right here or just a little bit later, and how does that impact everything else. And I don't want to put that emphasis on it for myself at the moment. There might come a time where I'm like, you know what? I've said basically everything I can say in this portion of the story. I might as well just have the proper map out there. I don't know, because every time I see a piece of art that's related to my work, I get like new ideas and get more excited. So it's if a timeline or a map, I think it would feel like that, but probably from somebody else building it. I don't know. For me, that makes a lot of sense, because I'm not really. I don't think of myself as a visual artist. I think of myself as a writer. So I think of map making as a very specific craft.
So project to project, book to book, story to story, you're growing as an author, as a writer as well. When you look back and thumb through some of your older books that you have in the world, are you seeing yourself mature as an author? Are you seeing yourself growing as an author?
Yeah, most definitely. From the start of when I started really focusing on prose at the beginning of COVID, I'm seeing the prose themselves get better, be more consistent across the board. I I think that because of the world building that I've been doing, it's helpful as well. Like when I started off with the ancient ones, I wasn't exactly sure how it was gonna connect with everything else in the way that I had been imagining, because everything else wasn't quite there yet. And I find that gives me some, having done so many more books now, gives me some freedom to feel more exploratory than I even was before, to the fact that I'm not just trying to make something that can be a movie, which I was doing before, opens up new avenues for me as a writer. So you'll see with the other novels in the Odom series that are going to be coming out, I'm going to be releasing another adult novel later this year as well. That some of the concepts are. maybe more mature, maybe the emotions seep through a little bit more in a way that that I had been excited for a while to get to, but with the first three books, it was more about like first one, big action. Let's put this cool set piece here and have this character driving. Second one, really really interpersonal space, dystopian. How is everybody dealing with this specific circumstance? Third one, huge, broad story told in a simple way. Um, how do I get people to understand the idea while still keeping it grounded? It's more important in that respect than just getting to each character's pure individual emotions. So my next book after Mabel that's going to come out this year is going to be more about the characters' individual emotions and the stakes that they have to deal with. And that's a completely different genre of sci-fi that I'm going to be working on there. And then I have another one written that I would say is probably about 70% done, even though the manuscript is completed. And I haven't, I have, I skipped it for a moment because it's going to take so much additional formatting to make the book really work the way that I wanted to. So, and the one that I'm going to put out later this year is just ready to go. So, that's kind of a weird thing because I feel like, I am getting stronger with the prose skill, but in getting stronger, I'm also making some things more complicated and difficult for myself that maybe the audience won't see when they get the book, but for myself, it's like yeah, I feel that it's getting bigger, it's getting bigger all the time.
It's good.
It's evolving.
One thing we always encourage people to do, and as you listen, please do this on this show, is we talk about leaving reviews and giving feedback to our authors as part of the process. That as a reader, that's I believe it's our responsibility to do that. You've written the book. It's our job to help promote the book. As a reader, we love what you do. We support what you do. Leaving a detailed review is a great thing. As you get feedback from any of your books over the time you've been writing, is there some commonalities you're hearing from different people about your work that it seems like there's a thread from this person's comment and this person's comment? They seem to be kind of saying the same thing about you as an author, as a writer, about your books. Are you picking up on some common things, some things across different comments from your readers?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's something that I was hoping for would happen because of the nature of the stories that I've been writing. But when some of the reviews that I've been getting that have been most consistent have been things like that, like, oh, it like changing my perspective on this thing, like opening up my mind to this thing that is going on. And I write a lot about consequences, and I feel like that's getting through to people. And the more of an audience I get, the more that I hope that continues to build and evolve as well. But that's the most common note that I see is how important the consequences are and understanding consequences. And yeah, it's funny because like that is true. And then the other side of it is that the books are all so different from each other, one to the next, that it's like that comes up, it creeps up into the reviews across the board. But then like the other ones are completely different. So
Is there a seed there around consequence for you personally, like in your own personal story outside of writing? Is there something for you as a human that resonates with you personally?
100%. I think it should for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's critical that we recognize what our actions, the actions that we take, whether on a whim or whether well planned out. It's critical for us to recognize that they will impact something else 100% of the time. You can't do something, make a choice without impacting something else. You buy something at the store from a small vendor, that vendor is impacted and they feel capable of doing their next thing. That's a strong consequence. That's not a negative consequence. It's a positive consequence. Consequence doesn't necessarily need to be a negative thing, but we're seeing in the world in general the amount of consequence that we've created for the future. I think this age group that I'm writing Mable for in particular is going to go through a different level of consequence that we're causing, that if you can see the bigger picture of how this impacted that thing down the road, then you can start to approach your day-to-day life in a different way, hopefully. And yeah, I mean that's the theme across the board for all my stuff. Mabel is especially no different, full of consequence.
Yeah. As I'm hearing you talking, what I'm hearing in my head is we are bigger and better together than we are on our own. And I kind of get that
Certainly.
that sense from you every time I talk to you, that your stories have a little bit of that flavoring in there, that concept of our connection with each other, and that we're not designed to do life on our own. There's other a robot. There's other things that are alongside of us that are there to complement us and to fill in the gaps. But we need other influences than just ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Really quick, that brings up something. I worked with a different artist on this book. Her name is Maya Scherer. I had been working a lot with Aurelia Lozano, and she's going to be doing the work on the book that comes out later this year. But I wanted to try a different artist for Quantum Mabel. I wanted to give it a different vibe and feel for how the books are laid out, because they are something else. And it's been a completely different process working with her as an artist. And it's been really enlightening to see how her ideas bounce off of what I've been showing her. And it's so funny because I think the cover is going to be, it's vertical, and it's Dartmouth himself sideways, because he, at the beginning of the book, he tells us that he is the book, that he's stuck in this book and is the book, telling us the story of Mabel and him. And I'm saying him, but I don't actually have a gender specified to Dartmouth, so I'm sorry, I'm saying that too. But because of that, then for the digital version of the book, the ebook, it's like, what does that even mean for it? And we had to adjust. Sorry, yeah. Did I say he's vertical? He's horizontal, and we had to verticalize him. So the book covers, like for the digital version versus the paperback version, are horizontal versus vertical. So he's either laying on his side or standing up, depending on which version you have. And that's a weird consequence, something that I wasn't considering. And just that small choice of working with, big choice of working with her as an artist, and her idea to do it this way, which I never would have thought of without her, led to this obscurity where we have two different versions of the cover right off the bat. And I think it's kind of fun in its own way.
I love, too, that you're not just pushing a button on an AI model and it gives you a cover. You're working with an artist, right? That's important to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's huge. Heck no, I would not be. I would not be working with AI for a cover. Yeah, I say whenever I'm at events, I say I never use AI for any of my book work. In fact, I don't even have Siri. Like, I don't even. And as I say that, I watch my computer suddenly turn Siri on and goes, "Oh, what do you need?" But no, I don't even use Siri. So, but I mean, like, sometimes I like feel that pang of like, hey, this little task could be a little bit easier. But when it comes to art, why would I ever take the joy of building or creating art away from a human? The AI is not going to enjoy this, and it's not going to enrich our lives having the AI copy something that somebody else actually did out in the real world and then muddle it up and pretend that it was its own. It's not it. Why would we remove the joy of life? AI is there for a completely different reason. It'll take care of great managerial tasks in time, and I'm sure it already is for some people. But there's got to be a limit for what we're presenting to ourselves. Like, we can't just take the joy of life away from humanity. It doesn't make sense.
Okay, so you just set me up really well, CB. We just talked a few moments ago about the fact that I got from you the sense that your writings kind of lean towards we're better together than we are on our own. You just demonstrated by talking about your artist that exact fact, that you as an author are better, and that artist made you better and the story better and gave you things to think about that you didn't even consider as the creator of the story, because you work together. So you and your artist are better together than you were on your own as an author. So you just proved our point by talking about the cover of the book. Isn't that amazing?
It's so cool.
I'm like listening to you going, oh my gosh, he's doing it right now. He's doing it right now. Yeah. So that's what I get from you. And that's why I love your stories. And that's why I love having you on the show, because that's a breath of fresh air to hear an author come on and share your journey and pull us into your world that you've been building for us. Like, talk about a proud papa moment. Like, you're kind of a papa in the moment, right? You're like, look what I built for you. Come and check it out. It's so great. You're going to love it. And then you draw us into this world, and now we're here with you, right? Now we can bring our kids into this world and enjoy it as well from their perspective with this new project. We have the adults in the room going, oh, there's just so much for us here. So you got to be proud of yourself because you're building something amazing. And I think there's a long runway for you as an author, that you're going to see the benefits of all this hard work and effort pan out over time. And it's just going to build upon each other. You talk about foundation. You built the foundation. Everything's going to be built on that. And you're building something beautiful in the background, CB. It's really good.
Thank you, Dave. That's no, I'm not crying. You're crying.
No, it's you. No, it's you. Yeah. It's amazing. Okay, so again, remind us of the book launch date and also, CB, where we're sending our audience to come connect with you. And I have one more question to wrap up. But yeah, book date and where you want us to go.
All right. Quantum Mabel in the River of Time releases June 9th, 2026. So it's really soon. If you need to find me, want to chat with me, I am on Instagram often at CB Sci-Fi, CBSCIFI. My website is www.odomslibrary.com. You can also find me on YouTube, though I haven't been doing as much as I should on there, at Odom's Library. And then I do have a link tree as well, which is linked I don't know, tr.ee, whatever it is that they do. That is also Odom's Library, ODOMS Library. If you really want to talk to me via email, it's cbstrul@gmail.com.
For those listening, he kind of leaned in, put his hand to his mouth, and that was like secret stuff. So don't tell everybody that, because we don't want to take CB away from writing and a wall of email. But as well, that's amazing that you put that out there as well. It's a great connection with the audience, CB. So I want you to come back, like I have to ask, right? Because I know you're going to come back anyway. But come back in the future for new projects. Let us know what's going on. We love hearing from you and following your journey. I go back and listen to like the early episodes when you first came on. I see a difference in you just over time. And the more connections we have, the better from my perspective. I see you growing and changing. I see a confidence level in you as well, that you were confident on the first episode you joined us on, but it's growing. Like, I can see you just expanding, and you're developing in front of us. And we can go back and listen to those other episodes and see your progress as well. So that's why I asked about how you feel your progress is going on, because I can visibly see it by seeing you on the screen. Your confidence level is just amazing. And there's a humbleness to you as well. There's a humility to that. So it's a nice balance, by the way. So good job. Give us one book, CB, outside of your world and your writing that you think people should read, that you think is like a good companion to you and what you do, but there's something special about that author for you that just, as you read their words, you feel inspired. It's kind of like it fills your tank. Who stands out for you in the moment?
Yeah, my wife and I explored all of her books. I'm sure there's a few that we've missed, but we read a lot of Ursula K. Le Guin. And I think that she was such a proud, creative, original, incredible person to do the kind of sci-fi that she was doing at a time when female authors were not necessarily part of the game. And if you look at the work that she had done with the Hainish novels, or what's the Tales of Earthsea, the Earthsea novels, which is fantasy. There's something that, like, I always strive to come back around to. If you've never read a Le Guin novel, it's a different experience than I think you've had from other genre pieces.
Okay. All right. We'll put a link for that in the show notes too for people to go check that out. That's really great. I love getting recommendations from books from authors because you understand it from a different perspective as well as a writer. So CB, thank you so much. All my best to your partner in life who keeps you organized, and maybe we'll have a map for you on your books eventually. But all my best to her as well. Thank you so much for taking time to be with us. Give us those puppies a little extra treat maybe today for, to celebrate you being back on the show. I think they'll probably be happy with that. So again, CB, come back. Love to have you back in the future.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to come back. I'll be here in a few months.
Everybody, all information is always in the show notes. You know how we do this. Don't only just listen to this episode. We thank you for being here, but go back and listen to CB's other episodes as well on the show. You're going to love hearing about every book that this gentleman is up to and what's coming in the future. The future is bright. CB, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, thank you so much again for pressing play. As you've heard, great guests on the show. And one thing you didn't hear in this conversation is what? What did you not hear? Think about it for a second. That's right. Not a single solitary commercial for a mattress or a supplement or a whatever you call it. No. Why? Because we don't want to break up the conversation with commercials. So the fact that you're still here means that you are a fan of the show, I'm assuming. So if you want to help to keep the podcast going and to make me feel really happy, all I really care about is coffee. Okay? I just got to be honest. I love coffee. I'm drinking one right now. It's starting to get cold. I need to warm it up. Helping us with our Buy Me a Coffee link over at livingthenextchapter.com and also in the show notes helps kind of keep the lights on around here. Remember, I'm doing this for free. I'm paying for everything. So I would love to have a little coffee donation, even $5 kind of fills up my cup. And I would love to enjoy a coffee from you. So if you're interested, again, thank you for listening, but you can use our Buy Me a Coffee link and fill up the cup. Thanks for being here.